Hello, Kidney Warriors. James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach. And this is another episode of Dadvice TV Live. Now, for those of you that are new, welcome. We have a great community here, very positive and very supportive. And if you are new, let me tell you briefly a little bit about myself. My name is James and I have kidney disease. As a matter of fact, just over 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 5 kidney failure with a single-digit GFR. I had no clue I had any kidney problems. And the doctors told me, James, you need to go on dialysis. Well, I have not gone on dialysis. I have not gotten a transplant yet. I've actually worked on diet, lifestyle changes to help improve my overall health, which has improved my labs and allowed me to get rid of every single symptom that I had. And I had practically every single symptom that comes with kidney disease. I like to say I kick kidney disease to the curb. Now, with me tonight, we have one of the most secret weapons to fighting kidney disease. It's not a pill. It's not some secret herb. It's not a flower that grows on the side of a mountain in some country far away that no one can get to. No, it is a renal dietitian. With us today, back again as she is every Tuesday, welcome Jen Hernandez from Plant Powered Kidneys. Hey, Jen.
Hey, James. Hey, everybody. So good to be back and so excited to have this really wonderful conversation we're about to have tonight. So for those of you that are new and have not met me, my name is Jen. I am a renal dietitian. So I'm a registered dietitian, also board certified in renal nutrition. I've spent the majority of my dietitian career working with people with varying stage of kidney issues, whether it was end stage on dialysis, early stage, even preventive care with the Kidney Foundation in holding kidney screenings. So it's always been a big part for me. Most recently, this past year or 2 years technically to look at how long it's been going on, I've had a virtual private practice. So I see people online and I help them take care of their kidney health so that they can prevent kidney failure and stay away from needing dialysis. We do this all through personalized nutrition, setting goals, and really paying attention to every aspect of their life that they can take care of to take care of their kidneys.
Awesome. And tell them how they can learn more about you and your amazing Facebook group.
Yeah, so you can find more information on my website. That's plantpoweredkidneys.com. Yep, it's right up there. And you can also, please, if you're not already, join our free and private, secure and safe Facebook group, Plant Powered Kidneys. So you just got to search that. And once you see Plant Powered Kidneys in the Facebook community, make sure you answer the questions so that you are qualified to join our group. It is a really, really wonderful group full of motivating, positive, uplifting people. In fact, I was just speaking with one of my clients who said he joined. He kind of just snuck in and joined the group and he hasn't said anything. He's just been looking at the posts and feeling more and more motivated, which is exactly what the community is there for. So, and that's going to be a lot what we talk about tonight is positivity. Yep. And motivation and getting rid of stress and really taking care of all of this lifestyle side of things. So please, if you want to join the group, I think you guys, I just really, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss of words for it, James, to be honest, because I never thought that it would grow so big. But most importantly, I'm just so proud of how great the group is. Really, really good, especially
so positive, so supportive, which is so hard to find in many Facebook groups. I don't spend much time on Facebook because a lot of the groups focus on the negative, the difficult choices, the challenges of kidney disease, and they're there. But we need that positivity to help us, release some of that burden off our shoulders, which gives us the strength, the motivation, the inspiration, the energy to live with kidney disease and not let it hold us back and improve our quality of life. And
yeah, exactly.
As you had mentioned, that leads directly into today's topic. We're going to be talking about a lot about stress. And I'll tell you, the very first question my doctor always asks every single visit. I had one yesterday, did a virtual visit with him. the very first thing is, how is work? How is life? How is stress? What is stressing you? How are you handling that? He gives me stretches, breathing exercises. We talk through things. It's more than a doctor. It's almost like counseling, because he knows that with a chronic illness, stress is one of the challenges that we face. And if we let it go in our minds, it can turn into something that just overwhelms us. But there's a number of reasons why we shouldn't let it happen. But I want to start back in the beginning. I always like kind of walk through the beginning. Where does stress and anxiety, which always comes along with stress, it seems, come from?
So stress is a response. It is a response to something that has happened to you. It can be anything that's going on internally or anything that's externally. So your body can have a stress reaction to something like getting scared. If someone jumps around the corner, that is right away that feeling that is a stress reaction. That is your body. And you might feel it in the way that your body reacts. Like you tighten up, you hold your breath, you feel your muscles contract, like your body is preparing for that stress. But there's also internal stressor cues that come from things that are going on, like you have a big meeting at work coming up and you have a presentation and it's a lot is writing on it, and it's really important that you nail this meeting and make sure your presentation is on point. So then you start feeling stress from that. So it's something that's kind of building up internally. I was just talking with a client today about stress from labs. I feel like that is something that happens all the time for people with kidney issues that are looking at their labs. And I even joked with him. I said, okay, so when stress comes up on lab eve, it was like Christmas Eve, it's lab eve. It's a lot.
I'll tell you, as a kidney patient, so I am Mr. Positive. I don't see the glass half empty or half full. I see it as, hey, is that the right glass? Maybe we need to change glass. But every time, and my labs typically stay the same or improve. I rarely has something gone down a little bit. And when it has, it's just a little bit. But even being Mr. Positive, I go in, they put the needle in, they take the blood. And if it's at the hospital, I know I get the results in a couple hours. I am sitting there watching, refreshing, like, where are they?
Refresh.
Please be better. Please be better. And the worst is if I go to my family doctor, it takes like 2 to 3 days. And if it's like a Thursday he takes labs, I'm not going to see the results till Monday. And I allow myself to get stressed waiting for those results. So that one, I 100% understand the stress while waiting for the results of your labs. And I know if I'm on my diet or if I'm not on my diet. I kind of have an idea. Where are they going to come? Where are they going to land? But I still let it get to me. But I just wanted to inject that in there because, my goodness, I deal with that just like everyone out there. I have that too, and I'm Mr. Positive.
Yeah. And this is where it kind of bleeds into this idea or this other concept of anxiety. Anxiety is something more so related to this feeling of uncertainty, this dread, this worry, and it can interrupt your daily life. It can be something that really puts your day-to-day activities on hold because it's holding you back, because it's really crippling you in a sense, your mentality, and it's preventing you from going on and enjoying your day. So that's where this stress and anxiety, brother, sister kind of mentality, this duo comes in play. And both of these things are really prevalent when it comes to kidney health or taking care of kidney disease, all of this, because it is very prevalent, but not always treated or managed. It goes unseen. And that's what I really want to help bring to light to tonight, to talk about that impact, what you can do now, and other things that you can do moving forward as well, because again, it just makes such a huge difference. It really, really does.
Yeah, and this is great timing because with the holidays approaching, I even right now I'm like, oh, there's so many good things. My wife's cooking more. She's making treats and stuff. And it's like, oh, oh, there's the temptation. And, there's a bit of, a little stress and anxiety creeping in. It's like, oh, if I could just have one. Well, I did that yesterday. I'll tell you guys, there was these cookie things and I thought I'll just have one. There's not much in them. Then there was two. Okay. Then by last night, it had been a bunch. Way too much, but I've been good today. I'm making up for it today. I've been very good. But that kind of, even something as simple as that, there was some stress seeing it and thinking, oh, the fear of missing out. I'll have a little. Then there was an anxiety. And at one point I remember thinking, oh, I've already had too many. What's a few more?
Mm-hmm.
And I gave in.
And that happens all the time. And then, especially for this year with the holidays, it is a very unique situation, right? So a lot of us, hopefully most of us, are not traveling or doing large gatherings, anything like that, and staying safe. And that's tough. That's really tough. I mean, I will also say, from my perspective, you guys know I don't have kidney disease. But there is stress, anxiety related to not being with my family for the holidays. And for the most part, I get used to it. But when I'm told I can't go, I mean, that's hard. That's really hard. So this time of year, besides being the holidays, this is an extra special type of holiday situation, which just really amplifies that stress and anxiety that people experience during this time of year as well.
Yeah, and Abby posted, my number one stress causer of everything, and this morning I avoided it, the scale.
Yes,
so little stresses me out, but the scale, oh, especially since COVID started, the scale has not been my friend.
Yeah, it is definitely tough, and it can create a lot more stress and anxiety if there's concerns about that. Absolutely. So, we're talking about all these examples, and if we just think about how they just kind of start to layer on each other, because a lot of the stuff doesn't go away. So this is where we get into this idea of chronic or acute stress, chronic acute anxiety. The chronic part of it is really what can amplify health problems down the road. So keep that in mind too, as we talk and identifying, is this something that's just not going away that I need to take care of? Or is this like, I know it's a very short term. Acute means like it is going to happen in a very small amount of time. If you go to a hospital and you're there for one night, that's possibly an acute situation of stress. I remember all the time in working in the hospital, seeing people with blood sugars like crazy high just because they were in the hospital. Their body was they were in a situation of stress. Your body is not meant to be in the hospital, and your body knows that, and your body is telling you that. I saw it all the time. Blood sugars, blood pressure, crazy high, purely because they were in the hospital. You might experience it when you go to the doctor's office. You get your blood pressure checked, that your blood pressure is a little bit higher than it normally is when you check it at home. And you're thinking, well, that's not normal. Well, you're in a different environment that creates a little more stress and some worry, some concern about what's going on with your health. And that is reflected from those vitals. Your body is telling you this is a little bit more of a stressful situation.
Yeah. Now, what is the impact of stress and anxiety on our kidneys? Because I never really understood that connection, but it's always, from the very beginning, the number one thing my doctor is concerned with.
Oh, yeah. And it sounds like your doctor is a wonderful person to be asking and caring about that, but a very smart doctor as well to be asking about that, because that is just really important to track and to understand and to monitor. So with stress and our kidneys, as I mentioned, it's going to stress your cardiovascular system. Stress increases your blood pressure. Blood pressure is the second top cause of kidney disease. So if you have stress, let's say chronic stress, let's say you have a really stressful job, if that is leading to more stress, it's potentially leading to worse blood pressure. Or maybe you're just doing a lot that you can to try to take care of your blood pressure, take your medication, work on your diet, but it's still not that great. You're not quite hitting the goals. then maybe it's that stress that is causing that higher blood pressure. So again, this is another avenue to look down when it comes to what can you do for your kidney health. So with stress, it is going to increase your blood pressure. That's a given. That if we feel like we're in a stressful situation, our blood pressure will go up. With the blood sugars, like I mentioned, it is well known that our body will release blood sugars in a stressful situation. So, James, have you heard the term fight or flight?
Oh, yes. Part of your brain to
Yes.
determine. Stay. As a matter of
Yes.
fact, I use that a lot in some training of salespeople on how to convince people to buy our products.
Okay, well, there you go. So the fight or flight in this case, your body, if it gets into that situation, and I'm talking about extremes, I'm not talking about James sales, but um, we're talking about some more extreme situations. But again, your body is trying to figure out, am I going to fight this? Am I going to get away? Am I going to flee? Either way, I need fuel. I need energy. And that's when the body can pump out sugar because it is getting ready to give you that energy, give you that action, whatever it needs, whatever you need to resolve the situation. So, with blood sugars, they can become uncontrolled with chronic stress. There's other mechanisms behind it, but that is, I feel, a good example to help understand what's going on with the body with stress and blood sugars. There was a study done that showed that people who had levels of depression, anxiety, and mental stress, they had higher hemoglobin A1C. So if you are familiar with your blood pressure, or sorry, your blood sugars, if you have diabetes, you probably know of your A1C or hemoglobin A1C. So if you think about those being higher levels and then leading to a higher A1C, it's not what we want. That's not the goal. And it was found that anxiety in the study, people with anxiety had the most detrimental effect to their blood sugar and their A1Cs. All three of them did have an impact on it, but anxiety showed to have the highest reaction. So, bottom line is the top causes of kidney issues, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, are impacted in a negative way by stress and anxiety. So, it just goes to show you how this kind of path is leading to making it more difficult to manage kidney health and to take care of the kidneys.
Yeah. And now the big $100,000 question. And I did not know this until you and I shared some information. Can stress cause kidney stones?
So it's a tough concept, really. There's a lot to it. And I will start first by saying more studies need to be done. You guys know I pretty much say this every time we talk. More studies need to be done because that's just the way it is. But stress is not something that we can measure in the way like we can look at your sodium level or your BUN or your creatinine. It is a perceived value. It is what we put it at. So, James, for example, when your doctor is asking you about your stress, maybe giving it like, hey, 1 to 10, how stressed are you? Like 1 is the lowest, 10 is like uncontrolled. They give you a number to try to kind of pinpoint that, and we go off of that value. So it's not something that you can just look at, or you can poke your finger or check your blood pressure and say, this is what my stress is, right?
Yeah, we have to be honest, and that's a big part of it. We need to be honest and share. And my doctor will say, how is stress with work? How is stress with the family? Because there's family stress, and it's okay to say, hey, things aren't going too well. There's a bit of stress, or I want to park my car in the garage. My wife would rather have it for storage. My car needs to charge. It's a plug-in. We're going through a stressful situation. That was one of the recent ones. That just happens. It's part of life. And he'll ask me about each of those. And then overall, how's my kidney disease? How's stress with that going? And luckily for me, this is one of my outlets that helps me kind of always see the positive. and talking to people and sharing stories. I know we'll get into this part later. That helps me deal with the stress and see the
Mhm.
positivity in it.
Yeah. So it's great. Again, it's great that your doctor checks on that. So if that's something that anyone who's watching right now, have that conversation with your doctor. Or if your doctor's asking and you're kind of wondering, like, why do you need to know about my personal life? This is why. They're trying to evaluate what's going on and how that can impact your kidney health. So to get back to the kidney stone and stress question, there's some evidence. And when I say some evidence, I mean, like, there's been a study. There was a study done that found that people who had calcium oxalate stones they would have a higher chance of developing more stones if they reported higher levels of stress. So recurring stones were shown to be more likely in those who said they had a more stressful situation. So again, this is something like chronic stress that's happening for a longer period of time that could possibly lead to more stones. So it is one thing to note that the people that were getting the stones over and over also had higher blood sugar levels, higher uric acid. They had higher blood cortisol. Cortisol is a stress marker. So a lot of these things are also going to impact how many stones they get, but they're also looking at that level of stress. So we can't for sure say stress will cause it, but it's part of that package that they were seeing, that the people who had these other higher levels also had higher stress. So there is another study that was done that showed that calcium oxalate stone formers with chronic stress may trigger a biological response from the body that encourages them to get stones again. So the body is, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. It's basically saying that it creates this like negative impact from the negative action. So there's that. But then we're thinking, okay, so then is it some kind of like vicious cycle? Is it stress causes stones and then stones cause stress and then back and forth? Well, there is another study that was done that showed that that's not really the case. That's not how it works. They couldn't find a connection between stress and recurring kidney stones. So again, we're grabbing the evidence that we have, but there really needs to be more evidence done to give a solid connection there. What we do know, and again, like we talked about before with blood pressure and blood sugars, stress increases both of those. Blood sugars and blood pressure at a higher level may also be related to creating more stones. So the root that we're looking at, it still goes back to that stress and anxiety. It goes back to that capacity of dealing with the stress that's going on and how we're taking care of that.
Yeah. And, that alone right there is enough reason to manage your stress and keep it under control. For those of you out there who have never experienced a kidney stone, congratulations. Try to stay that way.
Yeah.
I have once, and I will only do it once. I don't ever want to do it again. Luckily, I did not need surgery. It did. They call it pass. I would call it scraped the inside of my body to get out.
Yeah.
It was not pleasant. So definitely we don't want stones. And it's the kind of thing that once you get them once, you're more likely to develop them. So this is really important, managing this stress, because it can help. It was one of the things that could help reduce our chances of getting them. So what are some tips to help us cope with the stress, the anxiety, and other heavy emotional baggage that we have to deal with?
Well, it's really important, just like kidney disease, everybody is different. So what works for one person may not work for another. And it's really important as you're starting to look into how to take care of this is to try out some things and really do with what feels the best to you, what really, really works. For example, I love just getting out and taking walks. I know not everybody feels that way because it is cutting into their day, or maybe they can't physically take those walks like they want to. So that might not be the way. For them, they might just want to connect with somebody. Again, with a lot of the social distancing, staying at home, it can be really nice even just to do a phone call or to do a video chat and to connect with people, and you feel better no matter what you talk about, whether it's the stress related stuff or not. It can
Hmm.
just feel really great. So you want to try out some of these things and just see what works for you. And then also, it's really, really great to look to find professional help. I am such a firm believer. I feel like everybody should have a therapist, no matter what. There's no prerequisite, in my opinion, because everybody can value having a third party to be totally unbiased and just let you say whatever you want to say. And they are just, therapists are amazing human beings, absolutely amazing. So if you can find somebody like that, talk to your doctor about a referral. There's tons of different support avenues or venues or whatever you want to call it now these days, but it is much more accepted. And trust me, you will feel better going. You will feel better.
Well, and also having that third person there, it's, they typically will ask questions to have you kind of verbalize things.
Mhm.
And in a way, they also get a different view of it. And they might be able to
Yeah.
help you work through these things with their outside view. We're maybe too close to the issues to see this other solution. So that's a great reason to invite in a third person, a therapist, a third party person to help you deal with all this stress. And hopefully soon we're going to have a therapist here on Dadvice TV
Yeah.
sharing tips and stuff. Yes. Jen
Oh,
hooked me up with one where I have a call with her
I'm so
tomorrow to talk
excited.
about some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. This was not part of our conversation, guys. This is just me getting really excited because she's fabulous. So I hope you have a great chat with her.
Oh yeah, we will.
But so some of the things you can do, there's this one category of physical physical movement or activity. So like I mentioned, exercise, walking, just getting out. Yes, your blood pressure can temporarily go up during exercise because you're working hard. Your cardiovascular system is working hard, but you're training it. So it's an intentional increase in blood pressure that you are really focused on having. But exercise is a wonderful way to manage stress. If you're not into the exercise thing, you can also look at just having a pet. You guys know I have Lucy around. She's not in the office right now. She's really excited to have a yard again, so I think she's probably running around out there.
Oh.
But having yeah. But having a pet is a great way for stress relief. I mean, unconditional love, there for you no matter what. It doesn't matter what you did or what you are thinking about doing. They love you no matter what, and they're there for you no matter what. So pets are also really, really great. And it's been shown that having a pet or even just petting a dog. So if you don't have a pet, going to a shelter, going to volunteer at a shelter, something like that where you're involved with animals can also be very, very beneficial. So that's another option. Another thing that we can do when it comes to a physical action is look at how we can improve our diet. Focus on something that we're putting into our body and making adjustments there and making sure that the food that we're eating is really fueling us and not causing more stress and not causing more anxiety.
I love Lori's comment. Foster. Yay.
Oh yeah, foster.
Yes, we are a foster family. We do a lot of volunteer work for different animal rescue groups. And Debs mentions her pets. Oh, 4 dogs. We only have 2 right now. One is a Great Dane mix. He's a big dog. Then we have a little Chihuahua mix the other side of the spectrum. But yes,
Oh my
pets are
gosh.
great. And one of my
Yeah.
favorites, and it kind of falls in the category of exercise, I love, and I start every day off with this, singing and dancing. It's like the old
Yeah.
movie Risky Business. That's me in the morning. I'm getting ready. I've got the brush. I'm pretending to sing into it. Got my
Yeah.
music going, and that music is a huge de-stressor for me. Listening to songs that I know, singing along, and I'm a bad singer, guys. You know, when COVID's over, some of you are going to see me at karaoke bars again. I'm an awful singer, but I make up with it. I make up with volume.
There you go.
Louder makes up for being
The
really
better.
bad. Yeah. Now, what are some other things we can do? Oh, Pat
So
said
there's
yoga. Very good one there.
Yes, that is a great one to do. Absolutely. And that really kind of ties into the next thing that I had, which is some of the more emotional reconnecting kind of things. So, yoga is all about paying attention to your body, your movement, your breath. One of those things that I talk to a lot of my clients about is deep breathing, paying attention to deep breathing and really just focusing on a few breaths, paying attention to how they feel in, paying attention to how they feel going out. It can be really helpful. In fact, one study found that deep breath or deep breathing helped with reducing stress and improving productivity. So, if you have a big meeting, a presentation, something coming up, do a few deep breaths. And I feel like we see this even in like movies and TV shows and a lot of different places. People will like they're grabbing the door handle and they're like, okay, let's do this, right? Like they have that kind of like take a second kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So that has been shown to be really helpful, and it doesn't have to take more than 30 seconds. It's not a huge factor of time in your day. In fact, James, I know you're big on the Apple products. I am
Oh,
as
yes.
well. And on the watch, it has the breathing app. Have you ever tried it?
Mm-hmm. I turn it off. It annoys me. Because it always seems
Okay,
like I'm in
fair.
the middle of something at work and it wants me to
Mhm.
breathe. But yes, it's default on. That one I have turned off.
Yeah. I think that one, if you can find it that it fits into your schedule, I think that one is really fantastic. It helps with kind of guiding that breath and really
Mhm.
makes you just kind of stop for a second. And
Yep.
it'll check your heart rate, it'll check your vitals to show you how it's helped. But again, it's a great little support system that you have there. So I think it's really, really great.
Yep. I do have the stand
Another
reminder on,
The
which
what?
is important. The stand reminder to get up
Mm,
out of my chair, because otherwise, my days, my work, my job, it's sitting in front
mhm.
of a camera like this, and I could start the day and not even break for lunch, and all of a sudden it's 4 hours later, and I have not moved, which is not good for
Yeah.
my health,
No.
not good for my kidneys.
No,
So
not
I
at
have
all.
that one on. Sometimes I'll hit ignore, ignore, and then I'll look like I haven't stood for over 3 hours. I got to stand up.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to have those kind of reminders because again, we get so absorbed into things that sometimes we need that again, that third party, that other person, that other thing outside of us to be like, "Hey, don't forget to take care of yourself."
Yep.
So, very, very important.
And then here's a good one, which I
Another
know goes
Oh,
right into the next thing. Meditation
yes.
and prayer, both very good at
Yes.
de-stressing and relaxing.
It really is. In fact, there is a concept called gratitude meditation, and this is something where you really pay attention to your breathing. You take time to focus on what you're grateful for. And again, this time of year, it's all about, I mean, we start from Thanksgiving, giving thanks, but all the way through the holiday season and then into the new year, thinking about the new year, thinking about reflecting on the past year. But spending time to be grateful for what you have. In fact, I was just talking with a client about this earlier today, um, about being grateful for he has 20% kidney function. And instead of thinking, I only have 20%, it's I have 20%. He's not on dialysis. His labs are improving. He feels great and can keep up with his family. That's the kind of mentality to practice in a gratitude meditation, is to be focusing on what you're grateful for.
Mhm.
And that I am just such a firm believer on that power of positivity and that power of gratitude. I really think, and James, I think you're a clear example of that,
Oh yeah.
because you have such a positive attitude and
My
you have
kidneys,
lab
they're
results.
shot. They're really bad. They're not good. But I am so happy for what kidney function I have, and I celebrate it
Hmm.
because, and positively has been a big part of that, to help motivate me, to inspire me, to help me keep going. Because there are people who have far less, and I look at the alternative and I'm like, hey, I'm very, very thankful, very happy for where I'm at. And one day, if I do end up on dialysis, you guys know I'll be doing all sorts of videos about life on dialysis. I'm not going to stop. I'm always going to be, let's share the community,
Yeah.
all the people, we all lift each other up with our
Hmm.
support and our positive messages and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. And it really is all about that positivity. I'm telling you guys, I see it so clearly, even in my practice, from a client who is struggling with that positivity to the client who's being very positive and grateful. And their paths are very different, and their results are reflecting that path. So I really, really hope that tonight you take away from this feeling of positivity and shifting everything into, what do you have? What are you grateful for? Count your blessings, write them down. You can do journaling. That's another way to help de-stress, is to be writing things out on a journal and getting it out, and then wrapping it up with some gratitude and saying, you know what, all of this happened and it was a hard day, but I'm really grateful. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a meal in front of me tonight. Whatever it is, we all have so much to be grateful for. And we should really take time to value that and to appreciate it and to be thankful for it. And I can't say it enough how much of a difference and how much of an impact it makes to be positive and to think about
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I first started this channel, creating the videos, a lot of the comments were very negative. They were people that would say like, "Oh no, I'm giving up." My GFR, and their GFR would be like triple of mine, like so high. And I could see it in these people, certain posts that that person just had a better attitude and could focus more on the positive.
Mhm.
They could see that there are things you can do. Yeah, you can't repair your kidneys, but you may be able to improve your quality of life, and that is just so
Mhm.
important. Now,
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
description of this video, there is a link to a blog post you have about the things we talked today. And one of the things you have in that blog post is a guide for gratitude meditation. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, so that is a free download that you can get if you want to go get a one-page printout that really walks you through how to practice gratitude meditation. So it's 4 steps, I believe, and you can download it. It's just it's an email, basically an email thing that I'll get. So if you give me your email, then I can give you that download. You don't have to get emails from me. You can unsubscribe, but I do send out weekly newsletters and all of that. And then also for people, if you're interested in the Plant Powered Kidneys course, that's also how you get first in line to be notified the next time it opens. But it's really about the whole practice of being grateful and the steps that you want to follow. So I don't want to give too much away on it,
Mm-hmm.
because my assistant helped me in making it and she spent a lot of time in helping to create it. But it is something that you can download, print, read through it, and really go step by step through it. I really recommend practicing it with the end goal being once every day,
Mm-hmm.
practicing just for a few minutes of the gratitude meditation. It could start with once a week or twice a week, and you can build up. And next week, We're going to talk about how to set a kidney smart goal.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we're going to focus on just starting out with practicing gratitude meditation.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, getting emails from a real renal dietitian with helpful information, that's something you definitely want. We get enough spam. We want the real good stuff to help us.
Yeah, and I really hope, I really aim to make sure that uh, we're going to be sending out weekly newsletters starting next year. Right now, it's every other week, but we include science, we include articles and studies of things that are connected with kidney health that you should be aware of. We send reminders about what we've talked about on Dadvice in case you missed it. Sometimes we're able to plug in some recipes or other tips. So we do try to make sure that we get some good information in there for you guys. Because that's just really what it's all about.
Yep. So kind of to sum everything up, what's the bottom line on stress and our kidney health?
So the bottom line is that there is some evidence to suggest that people with more chronic stress may be at a higher risk of developing specifically calcium oxalate stones on a recurring situation. But we don't know if stress in of itself can cause kidney stones. So there has to be that history of stones already that they're looking at there. But it's not just stress alone causing kidney stones. We don't know. There needs to be more evidence and more studies behind that. And with stress being something that's perceived, it's being something that's internally determined on if it's stressful or not. That makes it a bit challenging in quantifying that stress connection. So we try our best to do that, but we still need to study it more. So even though we have stress, chronic stress or acute stress, almost everybody has chronic stress. Somebody who says they have no chronic stress probably isn't working, doesn't have a family, doesn't go out to do anything, isn't aware of COVID, not paying attention to anything going on. So chronic stress is very, very prevalent. And essentially every single person watching this, myself included, can walk away with the reminder that stress needs to be taken care of before it leads to worse health outcomes.
Mm-hmm. And then Deb asked a great question. Deb, you have been so participating in there. I love it. All the activity and stuff and the comments. Deb asks, what are some of the ways to avoid kidney stones in addition to managing our stress? Number one in my book right here is staying hydrated. And I add lemon to my water because the type of stone I had, lemon reduces the potential of developing more of them. So that's my number one thing, Deb, is I stay properly hydrated, not overhydrated. You can drink too much.
Yes,
Find out what your doctor recommends or your renal dietitian, and then hit that number each day. And that's one of my favorites. What other tips do you have, Jen?
I mean, the hydration one, I don't think that can be underplayed. Hydrating is so, so, so important to prevent stones. It really, really is. So you've got to find out how much you are able to drink. I think find out if you have a cap. If your doctor says don't go over this amount, basically if you have a fluid restriction, that's something you really need to pay attention to if that's the case. Because in that case, like James said, more fluid is not good. But make sure you're hydrating enough, spread it throughout the day. It doesn't really do much to chug a liter of water and then go about your day and not have any more after that. It has to really be spread throughout the day. The other thing I would recommend for sure is check out your salt in your diet. High sodium diet tends to lead to more stones. We have on the Plant Powered Kidneys website, I do have a blog I have several blogs about kidney stones.
A lot of blogs.
Yeah,
and a search.
I have a lot. Yes. So I have a search bar. You can go to the plantpoweredkidneys.com/blog and then just search stones. Just search stones. And I think, I mean, right off the top of my head, there's at least 3 different ones that I have. There is one that's 8 rules you need to follow. for kidney stones. So I try to get you guys a lot of information there that you can access at any point in time. And if you guys have questions, there's comments available below. So you can ask questions related to the blogs if you want more information. And that helps me know that I've got to do my work to get you more information as best I can.
Yep. Great. And then I'm going to bring up, that kind of covers our topic for today. We got done a little bit early, which is great. So I'm going to jump on a couple questions that I see here. And this is one that I saw either this morning or yesterday in the Plant Powered Kidneys group. And this is a question that pops up all the time. It's about alkaline water. What's your thoughts on that?
So alkaline water it's not really going to do anything. Their marketing team is on point. They know what they're doing. I tell you, anybody who...
You can tell when they run their ads, especially social media, because then all the questions come up.
Yeah. Your body works really hard to keep your pH where it's at. With kidney disease, there is a tendency to go towards the more acidic side. So the alkalinity is something that we focus on, but it's not that alkaline water is really the answer. It's more of finding the alkaline foods, which are, surprise, surprise, fruits and vegetables. So focusing on a diet that has more alkaline foods can be helpful, but it's not as simple as drinking alkaline water and expecting it to be resolved. And I don't recommend alkaline water to anybody. I mean, for one, it's significantly more expensive because they've got to pay for that marketing team we just told you to buy
it. And all those ads are running all over Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to get that money from you guys.
Here's another question. This is a great one. Dawn is asking about Splenda, or should she switch to stevia? She only uses 1 or 2 packets of Splenda a day.
I think that's such a small amount. It's really not going to make a big difference. Stevia, Truvia, Splenda, monk fruit. I mean, there are so many that are out there. The number one goal is that you don't want to do it too much because you might get upset stomach if you do too much sugars. Even some of the artificial sweeteners can impact blood sugars. So it's something to really, really be careful about. I think we may have covered a little bit of this topic in the renal diabetic article.
We did.
Yeah. So if you want to check out that blog, you can search renal diabetic diet on the website, or you can watch our video that we did about that as well.
Yep. And then Sherry here is asking, this is one that's really important, especially for your teeth. Apple cider vinegar, is putting that in water helpful?
Okay. So this one I have to be refreshed on. Apple cider vinegar, I feel like it's so finicky with the information.
It's good for a salad dressing. That's my thoughts on
it.
That's
I'm good with it. I do not advise drinking it. If you want to drink it, dilute it with water for sure, because that will mess up your teeth real bad. That will be painful. Yeah. But it is something that is part of a kidney-friendly diet, and you can absolutely include it. I want to say for stones, it is something I'll have to brush up. I'll probably have to go back to my own blog and check the rules.
It is hard to remember everything. So we hear so much, or we learn so much, and then also you see all the incorrect things, and it's kind of hard sometimes to remember, wait, is that one of the right things or the wrong things?
Right. And it's all about, for me as a dietitian, we're all about evidence-based. So I'm thinking, I'm like racking through my brain. Okay, has there been any evidence on there? And I'm sure there has. But again, is it proven? Is it matter of fact? Has it been repeated? Or is it just like a study that we should be aware of?
Yeah. And then Ray is asking about distilled water. And I'll tell you, Ray, I've asked Dr. Butt, Dr. Rowe, and other doctors, is there any water, especially since I drink so much of it, that is better? And they said, water is water. Get the cheapest water. Our tap water here in Cincinnati is perfectly fine. I even had mine tested right after I was diagnosed. I did have one little issue with my tap water. It went through a water softener that added sodium to the water. So I had a separate line ran to our kitchen that bypasses the water softener, and I just used some under the counter filters there. But water is what every doctor has told me. Use what's available to you. Don't buy anything special.
I would say, oh, no. I would say, though, different regions have different mineral content. And this has been a conversation that I've had with other dietitians about possible mineral content from the water of your region. But that's something you can get, like a water report from your city that will break down the different types of minerals that are in your water, so that you'll be at least aware of what is there locally.
And I called my local water supplier here in the city, and they gave me a report, and they do it every so often. And then I went to Home Depot, and right outside the cashier, they have these free little test kits. You pick it up, bring it home, you dip it in the water, you melt it in. They send you back results, and they do that in hopes of selling you other things. They'll say, hey, here's how much of everything that's in it. Here's systems that can remove that, or this is okay. All that costs nothing, just took a little bit of time, which is great. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's any other questions. People are loving this. This is great right here. Actually, there is one thing I want to share real quick. So I'm going to share a picture of my car with my wrap on it. This is not a picture I took. So I got a picture was sent to me. It says, I gotcha. And someone saw me driving around. So this is what I'm going to take on road trips as soon as I get my vaccine. And as soon as the vaccine's available, I'm getting it. Whichever one's first here in the United States, I'm going in and I'm getting it, because I'm looking forward to getting back to closer to normal. But I wrapped my car. My wife is glad it isn't a full wrap. It's only a partial wrap. And I used to have a restaurant in Seattle. So my car was completely wrapped. And we sold hot dogs. So I drove a gigantic hot dog. Which, my wife's like, people are staring at us. They're asking us questions. And the questions were like, hey. Yeah, they were like, hey, are you opening one down here as we traveled? Like, no, we're not. We're still in our one location in Kirkland. I ran commercials on TV, so people saw me as the dancing hot dog and stuff. But here is my car. Let me show it up here. Boom.
Oh, cool.
Got my green, my orange on there. Got Dadvice TV, nice and big on my. Yes, it is blue. So I have been switching. You guys have probably noticed on a lot of the social media sites, everything's background's going to blue. I got some new blue face mask. I'm switching everything to blue as the main background, with the green and the orange as my main accents. And soon, hopefully next week, the intro to these videos will incorporate all those graphics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm all excited. I can't wait to get out there and see more people and visit. And some of the companies that I work with, kidney stuff, have said, hey, let us know if you need some stuff. So hopefully I'll be driving around, giving out information, and who knows what else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Really, really nice.
Yeah, super excited about that. All right, everybody, look at that. That brings us pretty close to the top of the hour. We're going to end a few minutes early tonight because it's getting close to the holidays. But I want to thank... Oh, yeah. And here, Star is like, hey, tax deduction. Yes, Star. A little bit of that is a tax deduction. And it's a plug-in hybrid. So it doesn't cost that much to run, and it's nice and quiet. I love that. It's not fast, but it's nice and quiet.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everyone for being here today. If you haven't done so already, hop on over to the Dadvice TV YouTube channel and subscribe, and click the little bell icon. That way, whenever I schedule an upcoming show, you'll get a notification. So you can kind of plan around and say, hey, I want to see that one. I want to make sure not miss it, because I want to come here live and be able to ask questions and see if I can get those answered, which is fantastic. All right, everybody. Yep. I will be here tomorrow night with Dr. Butt. We're going to talk about how to prepare for dialysis in case you get to that point. What do you got to do when? And dialysis isn't a rush. It's not the type of thing where you want to hear, hey, you got to go on it next week. You want some time. We're going to talk about that and picking the type of dialysis, getting your access, recovering, and all sorts of stuff. That'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, Jen, for being here. Always great to have you here. Lots of wonderful information and support for our kidney community. All right.
Yeah, so happy to be here and share the positivity.
Awesome. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, and Jen will be back next week. We have a great show, and she's got an announcement next week. Woohoo!
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye.